Now, let's look at an interesting case study, Tyson Foods, which by all appearances seems to be doing all the right things and transforming itself into a tech company. We see here that it's transformed its value chain. It's thought very carefully, not just about the source product. In Tyson's case, it's meat. They've also invested in alternative protein companies, but they've used robotics, automation, machine vision, VR technology across the entire value chain. And the CTO, Scott Bradley, is really quite a visionary. He says, in some ways, while we're in the food business, we're a technology company. He says we're on our way to transforming Tyson Foods from an 85-year-old food company to a company that operates at the speed of business with immense digital capabilities. That was a couple of years ago. And if we look at the share price performance, we see that over the last 10 years or so, Tyson has done well and has made investments in different types of technologies, as I mentioned earlier. However, it's lost its way a bit in the last 4 or 5 years. And I would look at this and say, well, this is not what we'd really want to see in terms of transformation. There are things that Tyson could be doing that it's not doing. And what's especially interesting when we do a zoom in on these 5 years is that it's actually now underperformed the S&P 500. If we take this period starting in January 2016, the S&P is up 82%, but Tyson's only up 26%. And yes, of course, there is always a reason why something hasn't worked out. And in this case, the pandemic, problems with factory workers contracting COVID-19 and the like. However, I like to look at things like this, where Tyson made a very smart move in October 2016, investing in Beyond Meat at only a $250 million valuation. And then it increased its stake at a $500 million valuation. But then it decided to divest its stake just before the IPO, partly because they were launching their own alternative protein products. Now, we know what's happened to Beyond Meat in the meantime. It has skyrocketed. It's developed its own brand name. It's going direct to consumer as well as to QSRs and grocery markets, and it's worth nearly $10 billion. And I'm tempted to make predictions. One has to be careful with that kind of thing. But I would say over the next 3, 4, 5 years, Beyond Meat will be worth a lot more than Tyson Foods. So it just begs the question, Tyson seems to be doing all the right things, but something is missing.